All right, as I promised, the prediction that I was going to give you guys with UCLA, Colorado versus UCLA. I'm torn. I don't know. I'm going to have to make a decision of who I think is going to win. All right, Colorado and Coach Prime are hoping that the last week's bye provided them enough rest after that loss to Stanford. But it's a horrible way to go into a bye. You know, a lot of the times you want to go into a bye winning the game and having a time to rest, reflecting upon the past victory and looking forward to having more victories. But then again, the blowout or the blown lead, I should say, to Stanford could also be a good thing too, because from a psychological perspective, it'll get the team kind of refocused, reset the whole team. It's kind of like everyone starting from square one. And this opportunity to play UCLA at the Rose Bowl is a way for the Colorado Buffaloes to redeem themselves. So it could work both ways. I mean, but if you would ask Prime or ask any Colorado Buffalo fan, nobody wants to lose going into a bye. No one wants to lose, period. But there could be positive things can be taken from both scenarios. You could win, go into a bye and feel good coming out off the bye, or you can lose. But the way they lost, to me, is going to put more of a spark in them. It's what they needed. Losing, you actually learn more from losses, to me, because when you win, it sometimes can send a false narrative across the team that everything's well. And we know sometimes that's not always true. You can beat a team but not play well. And that's what I feel has been going on with Colorado with the wins that they've had. With the exception of perhaps the TCU win and the Nebraska win. But I believe the win against Colorado State, it felt like they lost because just the way the game went. And they just haven't been playing well in all phases. So that's going to be something to look forward to against UCLA. I believe they will play well. I believe that they're going to be refocused. I don't think you're going to see the penalties that you saw against Stanford. They're going to be more disciplined. But is that going to translate to a win? I don't know. I'm still thinking before I speak it out. I don't know who to choose. Of course, I want Colorado to win, but I want to be objective and tell you who I really think is going to win. Who I think is going to win and who I want to win are two different things. I want Colorado to win all the time. I want Coach Prime to be successful. So, Okay, Colorado has a great passing offense. UCLA has a good defense. Okay. I know that in the Buffalo's last game, okay, they blew a 29-point halftime lead. I understand that, okay? That's the biggest lead blown in college football since 2019 against Stanford, and 46-43 double overtime loss. Okay, we understand that. We get that. But UCLA played the same team that Colorado played, the Stanford Cardinals, the next weekend. And UCLA, they blew them out 42-7. Kind of the same thing that you saw Colorado doing to Stanford. They were blowing them out. So I believe UCLA and Colorado are more evenly matched than what the statistics show. Statistically, Colorado is not supposed to win this game. They're playing in the Rose Bowl. It's UCLA's homecoming game. But if you just look at, because every game is different, surprises or shocks can happen week by week. What you saw happen to Colorado blowing that 29-point lead is something that's not going to happen again. It's not going to happen again. That was just something, I don't know, maybe it was divine intervention. Like I said, it was needed. It was needed for the team to refocus. It was going to help. It's going to help with recruiting. It's going to, it's a blessing. It's going to make more recruits want to come there. Ironically, the opposite, conventional wisdom would say the opposite is true, but more people are going to want to come there. And people are going to want to see, can this Colorado team redeem themselves? They are just, they're eye candy for college football right now. Everybody's looking. Even if you don't like Colorado, you're looking to watch them fail. I've had some people give me comments about how Deion is, he bails on players. He kicked off players from his team and all that stuff. But hey, he can do what he wants to do. When an athletic director hires you to be the head coach of the football team, you are within your rights. Operate within the confines of the rules without breaking any rules or doing anything illegal. You are operating fairly to do what the hell you want to revamp your program. If kids that were there were 1-11, Prime wants to win now. He doesn't have 5-6 years to wait. So excuse him for being impatient. But we all know how it is. The bar is always measured differently with African-American coaches and white coaches. African-American coaches aren't given that long of a leash. If they're not successful immediately, and certain, especially in a Power 5 conference, if they're not successful immediately, they're out of there. The white coaches are usually given a longer tenure, and they're given the ability to make things work. So Prime is well within his rights to do what the hell he wants. And I don't believe he kicked anybody off. A couple of players are still on the team that did not leave. Woods, the safety, now he's converted to linebacker. He's still there. Harrison, I believe his name, he's the tight end. He's still there. So he didn't literally kick people off. Yeah, he wanted to see who would want to stay. Yeah, you can say he probably scared them off because he said he was bringing his Louis luggage. But literally kicking players off, that's not what he did. Players just left. After the first meeting or so, players got together and they all collectively just wanted to leave because they felt like they wouldn't make the team. But you don't want players like that on your team anyway. You don't have confidence in themselves. So this idea that Deion is some tyrant and he's kicking players off and pushing people away, that's not true. But people are going to believe what they want to believe. It is what it is. UCLA and Colorado. Who's going to win this game? Oh, this is tough, man. This is tough. Okay. Both Colorado and Stanford, right? Both Colorado and UCLA. They both have talent. Both teams have talent, okay? They both have NFL talent, to be exact. They have players on their teams that will be drafted going into the NFL, okay? We know Shedeur Sanders for sure, if he wanted to leave after this year, can leave. He's talented enough to go to the NFL. UCLA, they have a couple of defensive linemen that are good, that are NFL prospects. We know Travis Hunter, the cornerback / wide receiver for Colorado, he can enter the draft after this year if he wants, if he chooses. So there's talent on both sides of the ball. And there's a defensive end. I think his name is Latu, something like that. He's also a prospect, NFL prospect. Gabriel Murphy is another one. So the talent is on both sides. Both teams have talent. The running back For UCLA, Carson Steele, and the wide receiver, Michael, I think his name is Michael Sturdivant. Michael, I can't pronounce his last name. But they're also considered to be NFL prospects as well. I think UCLA has more NFL-ready players, though. I think they have more NFL-ready players. And UCLA has the dominant defense. Okay, if you want to compare the defenses, if you want to compare Colorado's defense and UCLA's defense, we know for a fact that Colorado's defense is Swiss cheese. I mean, they get ate up. They give up a lot of points. They can't stop passes. They can't stop the run. I'm just waiting for one game for them to put it together against a solid team. So Chip Kelly's team for UCLA has the dominant defense. And I know Chip Kelly's not normally known for defense. He's an offensive-minded guy, but the defensive coordinator for UCLA, Danton Lin, he's doing a very good job with that defense. So defensively, I'll give the edge to UCLA. The Bruins, they rank number 11 nationally in total yards per a game. Not in the conference. We're talking about nationally. And number 11 in total yards. So they're very stingy. They're not giving up a lot of yards. But that's not to say that they're going to stop Colorado, because you also have to look at the level of competition as well during the first 8 weeks of the season, because we're going into the 9th week. So some of these statistics could be misleading, but you can only take the statistics of what they have. I mean, they play the people that's on their schedule. So if their schedule is weak, does that invalidate that number 11 ranking of total yards in the nation? Who knows? I don't know. But that's what they are. They're ranked number 11. That's good. It's a lot of college teams. They're ranked number 11. This is what makes their defense such a formidable force to contend with. Okay? They're number 8 in yards per play. So their offense is explosive too. Is it more explosive than Colorado's offense? I would say that offensively, Colorado and UCLA are evenly matched. Defensively, I give the edge to UCLA. I have to be objective. Off of what I've seen, I would love for Coach Prime's defense to be better, but right now, UCLA's defense is better. I've not made my pick yet. I'm not insinuating that because the defense of UCLA is better that UCLA is going to win. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just stating what the facts are. Wow. Okay. Special teams, running backs, wide receivers. And then there's also one of the glaring weaknesses of Colorado seems to be their offensive line. And I don't think it's that weak, though. I don't think it's as weak as people are making it seem. When Shedeur is looking for the big play and he's holding on to the ball, I'm not saying it's his fault, but I mean, you're asking a lot for linemen to hold the line for you for so long. Now, there's sometimes the offensive line, they get blown up. It happens. I mean, quarterbacks will get sacked. You're not going to go through a season without getting sacked as a quarterback. That's just not realistic. But there's sometimes when Shedeur gets sacked, we automatically say it's the line's fault. But sometimes some of the sacks are his fault too, or Shedeur's fault. If you're holding on to the ball too long, looking for the big play, or looking for Weaver down the field, or looking for Travis Hunter, and you're scrambling around trying to hit the home run, so to speak, then if you get sacked doing that, people automatically, the line didn't block for him. Sometimes it's not the line's fault. I think they need to get the ball out quicker. But the reason why I'm mentioning the offensive line for Colorado is because UCLA, they ranked number 8 nationally with 24 sacks. So right there, that's a big problem. That's a big problem. Shedeur gets sacked a lot. And then you're playing a team that's ranked number 8 in the nation with sacks, 24. So the game plan has to be totally revamped. Colorado cannot continue to do the same thing expecting the different results. You cannot. You're playing against a formidable team that's going to test those weak those chinks in the armor, so to speak, of your offense. If the offensive line is deemed to be the weak point of the offense, then it's going to be tested. We can't do the same thing, which is why I believe Colorado should run the ball more. They should run the ball more. Use Alton McCaskill. Run the ball more. Keep the defense off balance, because if you're just pass happy and pass oriented, the D line is going to tee off. They're going to tee off. So that's why I said the defense is better. UCLA's defense is better. And then if you want to start breaking down the defense into levels, the D line, the defensive line, the team as a whole, 24 sacks, 8th in the nation. Now, Colorado, they did start the season 3-0. The record was 3-0. See, I'm trying to reflect. See, everything you have to look at. When you're making predictions, you have to look at everything as a whole so you can get a full context. You can't just be the prisoner of the moment and then say, oh, they got blown out or they lost a big lead to Stanford. That means they're going to get blown out again. You can't do that. When you're a critical thinker, you have to take everything in full context. You have to look at everything. So Colorado started off hot this year. 3-0. They beat TCU. They beat Nebraska. They beat Colorado State. I didn't like the way they looked against Colorado State, but nevertheless, it was a win. So we'll take that. However, I think after that Colorado State game, that's when things started to kind of go down. I think that the first 2 wins of the season, Colorado came out of the gates, and I think the players were feeling themselves. And it's natural. Remember, these guys, no matter how mature they try to act, a lot of them are still young men. It takes scientifically, it takes men to their mid-30s sometimes, some less, in the mid-30s for their frontal lobes to be fully developed. And what do I mean by the frontal lobe? The frontal lobe is what helps you rationalize and make wise decisions, to think critically. A lot of these guys are operating off their amygdala. The amygdala is what deals with emotions and impulses. So when these guys are winning games and all of mass media is talking about their team, then they don't know how to compartmentalize that. The frontal lobe is just gone. They're just moving off of their reptilian brain. That's the brain that's the flight or fight response. So all the tantalizing news that they're getting, it's so exciting, it arouses them. They can't pull back and rationalize and say, hey, no, I'm going to stay even keel. No matter how they sound in press conferences, they can sound intelligent. They can sound like they're ready for the microphone. They can sound very savvy, but that alone is an act. When the realness hits the fan, so to speak, then the players, they resort back to what they are from a biochemical perspective. So a lot of these guys are young. So I think after their first couple of wins, they start to feel themselves. It looked too easy. They were 3-0 out of the gate. They started to kind of flash watches, do all these things. And these are growing pains. And I think the wisdom of Prime, he sees that. He's not stopping his players from celebrating or doing what they want to do. But he has to allow them to grow. You can't try to stop everything. It's like a parent. When you stifle your kids, you try to stop them from doing every little thing. You make them afraid. You put them in a position where when they get older, they're not going to be willing to take risks because they grew up in a household that was very, very fear-driven and fear-based. Don't do this. Don't do that. Don't do this. Don't do that. My kids, sometimes I let them take risks. They climb certain things that look like it's dangerous. I just let them do it. If they fall, I pick them up, say, you're going to be okay. Now, if it's something that's catastrophically, like I know it's going to cause serious harm or danger to them, then of course I'm going to tell them to come down. But I let my kids roam and be free. They're in the house. They're in my house. I'm going to let them be free because the world has all the rules and limitations out there for them. But in my house, they're going to be free. So I think that the way Coach Prime operates, he knows. I mean, he was a hothead too, when he would do his little dances and his Deons and had the video, had the flashiness and things like that. He knows. He was there once. And he's going to let his players go through that. I don't think he's promoting it. I just think that the team is taking on his personality. And that's just part of Prime's personality. Whether you like it or not, it is what it is. But after that 3-0 start, things have kind of gotten slow. slowly started, things are starting to kind of unravel for them. Of course, they lost to Oregon. They lost to USC. They almost came back and won that game. That would have been epic. And then they won against Arizona State. And but then Arizona State hasn't beaten anybody. They're still winless. So it's almost as if Colorado are beating bad teams. Now you may say, well, TCU wasn't bad. Well, if you look at TCU now, they are bad. I mean, the fact that they went to the national championship game last year, the team was totally revamped. So, team was totally different. A lot of the guys are in the NFL now. So the TCU that Colorado beat was not the TCU that was in the national championship game. It's now some of the players are still there, but the majority of them are gone. They're not there anymore. Then they beat a Nebraska team. How's Nebraska this year? Are they any good? I don't know. I don't think they are. Arizona State hasn't won a game, so it makes that win against Arizona State almost a moot win. It's like a useless win. It doesn't have there's nothing to ride home about that. When you can't say, oh yeah, we beat that team and that team is good. So if you look at the wins of Colorado this year, they haven't really beaten a really legit team. I think when they beat TCU, it was legit. But now looking back in hindsight, that's why you have to take the whole season in full context so you can make sense out of things. And it's going to be tough. Now we know that Colorado has played well. Okay, they've played well against teams that it can bait into a shootout. All right. So if UCLA wants to beat Colorado, because Colorado is poor defensively, and then UCLA statistically, if you look it up, they're good running the ball too. So it seems like the things that UCLA are strong at, Colorado is weak at. UCLA is strong at sacks. Colorado is poor at protecting Shador. But I think that's a scheme thing, though. I don't think that offensive line is as bad as people make it seem. I think they get a lot of heat, but it's not them. Part of it is the offensive coordinator, the play calling. Those guys are big. I don't see. I think it's the schemes you're running. When Shador is holding on to the ball, trying to make the home run play all the time instead of just taking a simpler pass, that plays a lot into it. But it seems like what UCLA is strong in, Colorado is weak in. So if UCLA wants to win, because if they want to get if they get baited into a shootout, that's the only way UCLA has a chance to win. But Chip Kelly's too smart for that. I believe that he's going to go into the game and run the ball a lot because the film shows and the tape shows, and even from the past games, it shows that Colorado can't really stop the run or the pass, for that matter. So Chip Kelly's going to run the ball to keep Shador on the sideline, eat clock. If Chip Kelly can slow the game down like that, that's how they win. But if UCLA gets into a shootout, then you're giving Colorado a chance to win, because though Colorado's secondary is suspect right now, but the talent-wise, they're good. Travis Hunter is good, great. Cormani is good, great. I think it's Cooper, number 3. I think that's his number. Cooper, he's good too. Stoudemire, he's good too. They're good. I just think it's a scheme thing why they're getting burnt and beat. Individually, they're not bad. I mean, cornerbacks are going to get burned. I mean, you can't even breathe on a receiver nowadays without a penalty being called on you. So being burned is not the problem. But if UCLA gets baited into a shootout, then you're actually playing into the hands or the strengths of Colorado, believe it or not. They do have strengths, even though they do give up a lot on yards, on passes, and runs. But you keep throwing the ball, Travis Hunter's going to pick you off. That Travis Hunter that we saw against TCU, you're going to see that. Remember, he's coming off of that lacerated liver. So I think him coming back, playing against Stanford, I think they should have had him on a pitch count, so to speak. Like, give him a limited amount of plays. Don't play him every play on offense and every play on defense. But that's neither here nor there. That ship has already sailed. So let's move on. I think that's the hope that Colorado can have if they can lure UCLA into a shootout. Then you're putting the ball in harm's way because the quarterback for UCLA, quarterback wise, the edge goes to Colorado. Colorado has the best quarterback, and I'm not going to say the cliche verbiage here and say what everybody else is going to say, where they're going to say, oh, well, since Shador's the best quarterback, then the ball's in his hands and Colorado's going to go as far as Shador takes them. That's not necessarily true. Football is a collectively team sport. That's not all on Shador's back. Stop that. Yeah, it's an important role. He plays a very, very important role because he's the guy with the ball in his hand on every play. But you got to account for the defense, the cornerbacks, the receivers. They have to catch the ball. There's so much to factor in. So let's not think like children and put everything on one person. This is not tennis or golf. This is a team sport, total team sport. So with that being said, the quarterback edge goes to Colorado. The overall team talent, I would say UCLA has the overall team talent. But they just have more guys that are more NFL ready. Doesn't mean that Colorado can't step up. Because we know in the past we've had players, Colorado has had players who we did not know play big out of nowhere. We're like, where did this guy come from? Remember Miller, the receiver? Like, who is this? Every game or every now and then, there's always some player who we don't know that makes a name for themselves. So keep that in mind. There's a lot of talent in Colorado, but in terms of the known talent that's NFL ready, it's going to be UCLA who has the edge in that. And the UCLA Bruins, they've held their Pac-12 opponents to just under 19 points a game, 18.5 points a game. And that's top. And they boast a top 10 rushing offense to control games. So you see how deadly they are? That's why they were able to do what they did against Stanford, which is what I kept yelling at when I was watching the game against Stanford. I kept saying, run the ball. Run the ball. Even if you think that you don't have a running game, run it. It helps to kill the clock. Every time you pass the ball and it's incomplete, the clock stops. Running the ball makes the clock keep ticking. So I just think that UCLA has they have an identity. They know what they are. They're more polished than Colorado right now, which is obvious. This is Coach Prom's first year there. So you have a first-year coach in a Power 5 conference playing against a veteran coach that's been coaching college football for years in Chip Kelly. So I would say the coaching advantage goes to UCLA just because of the experience. Now, if you're going to ask me who's the greater motivator, I would say it's Prime for real, but we're not talking about motivation. We're talking about X's and O's. We're talking about game planning and game scheming. You can't just put the ball in Shador's hand and say win the game. You have other talented players too. You have good running backs. You have good receivers. I mean, the offensive coordinator for Colorado has his work cut out for him. His hands are going to be full this game. So that's what makes UCLA so tough, because when they get a lead, they're not going to be shooting it out with you. They're too smart for that. But for some reason, Colorado, they don't understand that when you have a lead, you can kind of lean on your run now. Put the pressure on the defense. Put the pressure on the offense to start passing more, which feeds into your strength. Your strength are your secondary, is your DBs, your defensive backs, your cornerbacks, and your safeties. You guys are talented in those spots. So if you could force the team to pass, who are desperate to try to come back, then they're playing into your hands. But when you abandon the run because you want to pad Shador's stats, that's a problem. Now, I said this before. I love Colorado's team. I love what Coach Prime is doing. But at times, I think that they're trying to pad Shador's stats. We get it. He's good. But we have to play smart football. Colorado should not be 4-3 right now. They should be 5-2. Seriously, it eats at me because that Stanford loss was not supposed to be a loss. So The coaching edge goes to UCLA. The defensive edge goes to UCLA. The quarterback edge goes to Colorado. The offenses are about evenly matched. From a statistical perspective, they're evenly matched. I'm leaning towards UCLA because they actually run the ball. But then their passing game is not as lethal as their run game. On Colorado's side, they pass the ball a lot. They don't run. They're very good passing, but they don't run. But it does not mean they can't run. And that's going to be the X factor in this game. If Colorado can establish a run game, then this is going to be a very evenly matched game. I can assure you right now, there's not going to be a blowout. UCLA is not going to blow out Colorado. Colorado is not going to blow out UCLA. It's going to be a very, very close game. I do not foresee Colorado making the same mistakes that they made against Stanford. They will play better. They will be better. There are two scenarios I'm going to give you. First scenario number one. If Colorado comes out, passing the ball every play, and only running the ball to say we ran it, if they're not committed to the run, they're going to lose the game. They will get blown out if they do that. But I don't think they're going to do that. Coach Prime is too smart. The only thing that can impede or tarnish the logic of Prime is that he's coaching his son and he wants his son to excel in a big game at the Rose Bowl against UCLA, that Coach Prime ends up giving the thumbs up or the green light to the offensive coordinator, say, hey, yeah, let's speed up the tempo and do a lot of pass plays. I hate that speed tempo stuff. It's only good when you're on a roll. When you're in the lead, you cut that short. There's no need for tempo. Remember, you're not playing against some unranked team defensively. This is a very, very stout defensive team. I told you earlier what they're ranked. They're ranked top 20 in the nation. Their defense is stout. It's stout. I think this is I know this is the best defense that that Colorado has faced, or that they have faced thus far. It is. It's not an opinion, it's a fact. The defensive line of Colorado has to play better to stop the run of UCLA. But, these are the same guys, but they have so many other guys on that team that we don't know about. There were so much players that transferred through the portal that haven't gotten the opportunity to play. So we'll see. But Colorado, they're not getting any new defensive linemen anytime soon. Who they have is who they have. And what they've shown us for the first 8 weeks of the college football season is that they cannot stop the run. They can't stop the pass either. Fortunate for them, the Pac-10 or the Pac-12, I should say, is a passing conference. They pass a lot. And that's what's saving Colorado to a certain degree. I think if teams just wanted to just run the ball down their throats, they could. And then once Colorado decides to stack the box, then you have play action, and then boom, they beat you over the top. If teams were smart, they would just run the ball first. See if you can stop our run. Then when you bring in multiple players and put them in the box, then I'm gonna eat you up over the top. It's that simple. But so often these games start off with like passes. They do this RPO junk. The quarterback is in shotgun. He fakes like he's going to give it to the running back and throws. They all do the same play. They throw these little hitch passes or bubble screens or short passes. And what you're hoping for is that somebody breaks, but the tackling of Colorado has to get better as well. So that's why Colorado has their work cut out for them if they want to win. They're going to have to play out of their minds. They're going to have to play in a way that we're not used to them playing. They're going to have to actually go into another team's territory on their homecoming, stop their run, and force them to pass. If you force the Bruins to pass, the quarterback for UCLA is shown not to be consistent. He's not that great. If you force the UCLA Bruins to be a pass-first team, then Colorado's going to win. If Colorado cannot stop the run, UCLA is going to win. So now you're probably asking me, what's your pick? You've been talking all this time. You've been talking for over 30 minutes. What's your pick? It's tough, man. Okay, I've given you my ifs. Because I believe that Coach Prime's team will play better and different, the game's going to be close. Most experts are predicting that UCLA is going to just roll over Colorado easily. I don't think so. I think for the first time, and I want you guys to listen to this and listen to me carefully. If you have wax in your ear, clean it out right now. I'm about to say something that's gonna resonate with some of you guys. For the first time, after that blowout, after blowing that big lead against Stanford, for the first time going into a hostile territory in Rose Bowl, even though we know for a fact that a lot of Colorado fans are going to come there, and we know it, but majority of the fans there are going to be for UCLA. For the first time, Colorado can actually exhale. They are now the hunter. No pun intended. I'm not talking about Travis Hunter. I'm talking about now they're the hunter. From the first game of the season, they've been the hunted. Before the season started, everything was about Coach Prime, Colorado. So when they played TCU, even though they were traveling to TCU had a chip on their shoulder. They wanted to knock off. They wanted to blow out Colorado to put them back in their place. Since the season started, Colorado has been the hunted. Colorado is being treated. They are being treated as if they are the national champions, as if they won the college football championship last football season, and teams are coming at their throats to knock them off. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's the hype generated through the Prime machine. And it's okay. It comes with the territory. We're not playing victim here. I'm just stating facts. But because of that last loss against Stanford, going into hostile territory, I believe that the way Colorado started the season with TCU, they're going to revert back to that TCU moment. Does that mean they're going to win? I'll tell you in a second. I know you're probably like, just say it. What that does mean is that they will play better. They're going to play better. It's going to be a competitive game. Win, lose, or draw. Fans are going to be happy with what they saw out there on the field. It won't be something that's embarrassing, where you're going to be like, oh my God, because sometimes even when they win, Coach Prime is not happy. So sometimes you can win and it's a bad win. It's a win, but you're like, man, I feel like it's a loss because, we won, but there's so much things we did that weren't good. This is not going to be one of those games. Win, lose, or draw. Coach Prime is going to be happy with the way his team played. If they lose, he won't be happy about the loss for sure, but he's not going to have the nasty taste in his mouth as the other losses, as the way he's felt before. But for the first time, Colorado is the hunter. They can hunt now. They've been under pressure for so much. Now they can exhale. Travis Hunter is healthy. Fully healthy, I believe. I don't even think he was 100% that last game. Shallow is healthy. The bye is a lot of guys to heal. UCLA is playing at home. They're playing with a huge crowd that's going to be behind them. I believe for the first time, Colorado is going to face the biggest adversity that they faced all year, which is good for them. because no longer are they being looked at. I mean, they still are the talk of college football, but because of what just transpired against Stanford, going into another football team stadium, a huge stadium at that, a very, very big stadium, it's going to be jam packed on their homecoming. You're going to see a focus on Colorado that you've never seen before. Is that going to translate to a win? From everything that I've read about UCLA and how I've seen the way the Colorado season has gone, you're going to see great things from Colorado. You're going to see players that you're like, oh my God, I didn't know. And watch out for Cormani. I think Cormani's going to have a hell of a game. He's going to have a hell of a game. This is going to be his coming out party. Travis Hunter's going to play well. Colorado's going to play well. However, I believe that the talent of UCLA, especially how stout they are on defense, especially the number of sacks that they've had so far this year, putting them I believe, was it number 8? I forgot what number I said earlier. But they're ranked top 20 in that category. I believe it's going to take a phenomenal identity shift for Colorado to win. That's hard to do in the middle of the season, to switch your identity. They're going to have to be a running team. I don't know what they've been practicing in practice. They're going to have to rely on the run. And I don't believe that they are going to rely on it. And they may run the ball more. When I say rely on it, I mean where it's like 65% run and like 35% pass. Give Shador a break. But when he passes, if you're committed to the run, you can play action off the run. Get those safeties to bite, and then boom, Weaver over the top. Boom, Travis Hunter over the top. But it's a lot of ifs. As you see, every time that I talk about UCLA, I'm not saying ifs with them. I just stated what they are. A lot of things need to happen for Colorado to win, which is why, if they do win, this is going to be their biggest win of the year because of what just happened prior. The meltdown, the bye week, going into the hostile territory and winning, that'd be the biggest win of the year so far. They do need to win 2 more games to be bowl eligible. So will they win? My mind, based upon what I know and what I've read, and just taking into account everything and putting everything into context, factoring in the way the Pac-12 plays, my mind says that UCLA is going to win the game. My mind says that. So if I was a betting man, I don't gamble, I would bet that UCLA would win. But because I have a passion for Colorado and all those ifs that I said, I believe those ifs will happen. Like if they run the ball well, if they play better defense than they've ever played, them playing like they can hunt rather than all the animals hunting them. Just make this analogous to living in the wild. All the animals are hunting for this one animal. All sorts of different species, all different sort of predators are just after this prey. And Colorado has been the prey. They've never been able to actually be the predator. But for the first time this season, they can now feast. They can now eat. They can be a predator again. Because they just had a huge meltdown. And now the doubt creeps in. The bye week, people get to reset. This season's like the second half of the season. Reality has smacked them in the face. The first part of the season. Now they have the bye. Now they can My mind says UCLA is going to win the game, a close game. I don't know what the score is going to be. But my heart says that Colorado is going to win. Now you may say, hey, that doesn't make sense. Pick. I am picking. I'm picking UCLA to win. My mind. The mind that my creator gave me, I'm telling you that UCLA is going to win. But it's not because Colorado played bad. The only way I would say that Colorado plays bad if they go back to doing the same exact things, being pass happy. But I don't believe they will. I believe they're going to do a lot of things different. But my heart feels like there is going to be an upset. I believe that those players play up to their competition. When they played TCU, it was the biggest game of their lives. Think about that for a second. That was the first game of the season. Coach Prime just put the team together. That was the first game of the season. They played it with a passion, with a love. That love that Prime talks about, they played with it. It was their first game. Even though TCU was hunting Colorado, they still had that hunter's mentality. They felt like they were the predators. They were going to hunt. They wanted to go out and prove to the world that they're legit. But I think those first couple of wins of the season, something happened. They just started feeling themselves. And the last thing you want to do is read your own press clippings. You don't do that. You never, as an athlete, listen to your praise. You always listen to your critique to give you that motivation to overcome the critique or overcome the doubt. You need that. Be it constructive or non-constructive. I don't care what it is. Critique is critique. Just use it as fuel. When you start hearing, oh, they can win this, they're good, prime this, prime that, Shador is doing this, Shador with his watch, oh, this and that. No, calm down. Have respect for the college football game. Now you're doing all that. You have a target on your back. But I think for the first time now, after that embarrassing meltdown, going into Colorado, going into UCLA, to the Rose Bowl, this is their homecoming. I think the pressure's on UCLA. There's no pressure on Colorado. Think about it. They were 1-11 last year. We just want to see them play better. I think Prime's perspective is just play better. But he knows that if they play better, we win. In all phases. Play better on special teams. Play better and block better for Shador. Play better and commit to the run. And pass when needed. Don't pass for fun to pad Shador's stats. He's not winning the Heisman this year, folks. Just throw it out the window. You guys have too many damn losses. He's not winning the Heisman. So give it up. But we know he's a good quarterback. That's good enough. We don't need to keep passing and passing and passing so he can be the top passing yards person in the Pac-12. Let's stop all that. We're not chasing stats. We're chasing W's. I don't care if he only has one pass during the game. If they win, I'll take that every day. I'll take that to the bank every day. So that's my spill. I think that UCLA will win. But my heart is saying that Colorado will win. But no, people are going to say, well, you're hedging your bets. I'm not betting. Because when I come back and make another video, if Colorado wins, you'll see that they did exactly what I said they were supposed to do. Focus on the run. If Chip Kelly thinks he's smarter than Prime, and he thinks that he's going to run the ball to kill the clock because he knows that Colorado can't stop the run. So if Chip Kelly scores touchdowns, and then let's say Colorado gets the ball and they score quickly, Chip Kelly's going to say, that's fine. I know you can't stop my run. I'll keep the ball on the ground where it's safe and pound you to death and wear out your defensive line, because by the time we get into the fourth quarter, you're going to be no good. I can then run away with the lead. Okay? That's what Chip Kelly is saying. But I'm saying that Coach Prime's team should do the same thing to them. Neutralize their efforts. They think that you can't run. And it's not because Colorado cannot run. They just choose not to commit to it. Everyone needs to go to YouTube and look at Alton McCaskill's highlights when he was with U of H as a freshman. The fact that he's not even running the ball that much, it's mind-boggling. People keep talking about Travis Hunter and Shador. No, they have way more talent than that. Colorado is so much better than what they're showing us. And I think that for the first time it will be unleashed if they commit to it. I don't know. If I had a crystal ball and I can see that Colorado, if the crystal ball told me Colorado will run the ball more, Colorado will do this, that. If the crystal ball tells me everything that I think that Colorado should do to win, then I would say my mind will pick Colorado, because I don't know what they're going to do. I can't predict. I can only speculate or assume or make an assumption based upon the facts that I have, and keeping everything in context. Then I have to make my decision based on heart and mind, because my heart is going with the assumption that they're going to do these things. So my heart says Colorado, but my mind, just on paper and just reading the statistics of the rankings of where they stand, it's a reason why experts are choosing UCLA. But I'm not saying that UCLA is going to win and blow them out. They will win. That's what my mind says, but my heart says Colorado. All right, guys. Thank you for listening. Bye.